Live from New York, it's Ask an Engineer.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to Ask an Engineer. It's me, Ladyada, the engineer, with me, Mr. Ladyada. We're broadcasting from downtown Manhattan in the secret Adafruit headquarters, where we do all of our prototyping and development. We'll be back in the factory soon, but as schedule allows it. We're there every day, but we'll be broadcasting.
We're there, but we're doing the shows from our other location.
That's right.
With green screens. I don't know if you can tell.
I can
We
go
got a
in
big,
this.
awesome show tonight. We just did the show and tell, super jazzed about it. There was a lot of cool people came by and showed some cool projects. But we're here for the next hour or so, and we're gonna kick off some engineering, some art, some electronics, some fun, make you think, make you share.
Tell them what's on tonight's show, Mr.
On tonight's show, we're celebrating International Women's Day.
Yay!
It's Women's Day today. 10% off in the Adafruit store all the way up to 1:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Use it or lose it. Get anything that's in stock. 10% off. You know you want to do it. You want to support a woman-owned company?
That's right.
Yeah, all month long.
Yeah.
We're also doing Women's History Month, but I think we're the only open source electronics company that's woman-owned. So spend a buck or two. It helps us pay our team and do all the things that we want to do, like these shows. Talk about our live series of shows, including Show and Tell. We just wrapped that up. Desk of Ladyada, we do that on Sundays, including Great Search. Ladyada will talk about what was on the show. JP's product pick of the week. We'll have a little bit of a recap from this week. Time travel, a lot of cool news. Looking around in the world of makers, hackers, artists, and engineers. From the mailbag, real cool special one this week. Help wanted. We did some changes on how we're posting jobs and more. I went over that last week, but I'll talk about that again. And we have a gigantic retro tech section because it is Marcintosh, entire month of celebrating retro Mac stuff. We'll show some of our collection and more that we've been posting around on the internets, including our newly dusted off Tumblr. We'll talk about that. Some advanced manufacturing made in New York City, our factory footage, some 3D printing, some Ion MPI. This week it is Menda. We'll do some top secret. We have some cool stuff there, some new products. We answer your questions. We can only do that on Discord. Well, we can do it other places, but it's just easier for us. So adafruit.it/discord, stop by, ask your questions. We'll do them throughout the show, but ideally just hang on to them to the end. We'll get to all of them. All that and more on, you guessed it,
Ask an Engineer.
Ask an Engineer. We should do a song for that. Okay, Ladyada, in addition to that cool code Wednesday, people get free stuff when they add it to their cart. What do they get?
Well, and it's going to change soon. So this is kind of like the last day that we're going to have these exact giveaways. We still got $99 or more, the half-size Perma Proto breadboard, great for taking your solderless projects and making them solder full. $149 or more, we're still giving away the KB2040. It's an RP2040 based board with STEMMA QT and buttons, castellated pads, USB-C, and it's Pro Micro Pinout compatible. So it's great for all sorts of microcontroller projects that want a little bit of boost in power. Boost for that 32.4.
What else?
Up to 2040. $199 or more, you get free UPS ground shipping in the continental United States. And this might be the last week for a bit that we have the free
microbits.
I'll tell you why though. We're getting back to Circuit Playground Expresses, which we'll talk about later.
Next week, when you buy stuff, you'll get one of these.
Bam!
But this week, when you buy stuff, you get one of these.
Why? Because we didn't have time to swap them out.
Well, we've been waiting for microchip SAMD processors for like 2 years, so they came in. But that just means we're retiring out this freebie. So
that's right.
Use the code, use it or lose it. get the stuff,
Freebies.
celebrate by saving a buck or two. Okay, we do a bunch of live shows. Do them every week.
Oh yeah.
The live show that we just did, good to be back. We had the team do the co-hosting and hosting.
Thank you.
Chantel's kind of one of my favorite half hours of the week because we get to connect with makers in the community. Jay stopped by. We had folks on our team who stopped by. And then if you watch the whole thing all the way through, I'm not supposed to pick favorite product, but project, but Delchi stopped by and made the floppy disk with
Yay.
the display on it, and then talked about some future projects. They were all really good
And here's the
projects.
thing, it's actually neat to see people build this because it's like, wow, the instructions and code work. Like it's one thing to build
Yeah.
one, it's very hard for other people to
Yeah.
build it.
I think that there's probably similarities when you're someone who makes something for others to make, like the delight someone gets when they make your recipe and they taste
They're
it.
like it was tasty.
And they not only tasted and they liked the recipe, but they shared it with important people in their life. And I think that's neat when you can make something. All of our team, they take the things in their head and some of it's 3D printed, some of it's code. It all comes together, and the floppy disk thing is neat. I was talking about a gift that I want to give someone. It's the contents of what's on the floppy
Yeah.
is
Oh
going
yeah.
to be on the screen.
Yeah, it's cool.
So I thought that would be kind of cool. So, anyways, tune in every week, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Come by if you have any Mac retro stuff. Come by and show it off because we're going to be doing Marcintosh all month long. So, anywho, we do Desk of Ladyada every single week. We do that on Sundays. This is where we live broadcast from your desk,
Yes.
which is like right over there. What'd you show off this week?
This week, show off some more bones boards. So every week I try to design like one or two. We should first off talk about March and Tosh, which we'll talk about more.
Yeah,
Because that was a quick thing with the penguin.
yeah.
I also showed off we have a USB host RP2040 feather that uses the BitBang Teeny USB host capabilities that we've added recently. Does work. Also showed off this cool DigiKey part, the RGB LED and the USB A port.
Yeah.
And also some CAN bus stuff we've been working on. We got that working, so it'll be in the shop soon. And also made an RP2040 CAN bus feather. So lots more.
Yeah, and then we also do a segment called "Where in the World is That Part I Need?" It's a great search, DigiKey. And this is when you use your power of engineering to find things on digikey.com using their search, which is an art form in itself to find the things that you want. So what did you look for this week?
So this week, I am experimenting with the ESP32S3's ability to drive dot clock TTL displays. And some folks may not know, DigiKey stocks all sorts of different dot clock TTL displays for immediate shipment, IPS, capacitive touch, resistive touch, 4.3, 5, 7 sizes. Woo, it's a party. So check out the video where I show some of the companies and some of the things I searched for, and you can connect those dot clock TTL displays to some bigger chips like the IMX series and ESP32S3.
Okay, and then every single Tuesday we do JP's product pick of the week. This is a live broadcast inside a product page. The discounts automatically applied. It's a fun show every Tuesday. Here's this week's highlight.
It is the 1.8-inch TFT display breakout with micro SD and iSpy. Having that little flip connector there so that you can put a ribbon cable in means your wiring is so much neater. You can see I've got one of our 1.8-inch TFT displays with the iSpy connected up to iSpy Breakout, and then that's running to an Itsy Bitsy M4. This is a really cute game that's on the main page of Make Code Arcade that is about some mice performing Shakespeare, and you are the spot operator, and you got to keep the spotlight on the actor who is currently delivering lines, which is adorable and amazing, and I love it. That's my product pick. It is the 1.8-inch TFT display breakout with micro SD and iSpy.
All right, JP's workshop is on Thursdays, and then deep dive. And Scott might be coming back to the chair.
Wow.
So we'll see how that goes. Foamy Guy is out this week, so we might see Scott. I'm gonna tune in if I can. Time travel. It's around the world of hackers, makers, artists, engineers, all the stuff that's going on in the world and more. This week's time travel, let's do some celebratory things first. On Adafruit site, there is Women's History Month all month long. There is all sorts of posts, videos, articles, and more on our site, but there's also, with the tag, if you look around online, if you're on the social medias, you can see the stories of many amazing women and the things they built and shared. In fact, I sent a note to our team to publish this up because I'm doing the show. SparkFun has a post about Hedy Lamarr, and we had interviewed the director of a movie about Hedy Lamarr. So I said, hey, post a link to their site because they're an electronic site that's talked about women in tech. Yay, we want this to be contagious and these stories get out. And then we met the director of the movie, tragic story, but amazing story all at the same time, of Hedy Lamarr. So check that out. That'll be on our website, and it's also all month long. Happy birthday, Raspberry Pi.
Wow.
Yeah, happy 11 years they've been at this. So they launched Raspberry Pi in 2012, goal of boosting young people's engagement with computer science and electrical engineering. And in the decade since, there's been an explosion of interest and more. You can tune in to this special online event. I believe they're broadcasting online, that is. But check it out. It is coming up March 28th, 2023, 6 to 7 p.m. I think they're recording it, but double check. But if you're in the area, of course, you'll want to see this. So happy anniversary, Raspberry Pi. Here's to another 11 years. Next up, I wanted to mention that so Twitter kind of melted down a long time ago. It's just now getting equally distributed. So we're on Tumblr. We've been making sure that we're putting our content in places and we're the humans behind it. We don't auto publish in those places. So we wanted to make sure folks who like doing retro stuff, like doing keyboards, Tumblr has a live video feature. We were playing around with that. There's a lot of people who will find cool old like magazine scans from the computing history and then put it on Tumblr. They have theme Tumblrs. There's a lot of cool Tumblrs. So we've been on Tumblr since it's been 13 years. And I looked on archive.org when the first time it pinged it. So here we are. This is our Adafruit Industries Tumblr. This is when we used to have our blog feed go there. So February 11th, 2010. And you could see what were we doing 13 years ago from the Adafruit shop.
Messing with an iFi card.
Yeah, we were taking photos and it would transfer the photo over Wi-Fi from the SD card and then automatically upload it.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. I mean, at the time, this was amazing because there was no
So
iPhone.
we're so
I don't think so.
there was an iPhone.
There was, but I don't know if it did photos to blog, automatic blogging.
It everything kind of did, but none of it was easy.
Yeah.
I think it was called like there was one service I used. It was like the first auto mobile blog. It was like called Text America or something like that. Anyways, we used to use Ustream in our streams. So, anyways, if you want, go check out adafruit.tumblr.com or tumblr.com/Adafruit. And the reason that we have our content in all these places is because this is where people build communities, and a lot of us are on these places anyways. So, on some social networks like Instagram, we try to put our beautiful photos there. But you can't put links in the text, so it doesn't really make sense to do large form bits of text. But if you like looking at like our amazing photos and some of our cool photo sets of retro stuff, that's the best place for it. And like the human beings posted there, we don't automatically post stuff there either via bots. So we're going to be experimenting more. If you're on Tumblr, go check us out there. Hit a little like or a reblog, and we'll probably see how it goes. We'll talk about our Macintosh stuff that we're doing there. And then next week we're talking to the Tumblr folks. And Tumblr's changed a lot. We had met, I don't know if you remember this, but we met David Karp a million years ago.
Yeah, he came by and he came to Adafruit.
Yeah, and we also were
it was like my apartment.
Yeah, it was apartment Adafruit. And he had started Tumblr, and then we also went to a Laughing Squid event, and I think Tumblr had like 10 people at the time. Users, not employees.
Yeah.
And then they got bought by like Yahoo and Verizon, and we kind of
Yeah.
and it got really weird. So we're just like, oh, let's just retire out the Tumblr, and then we'll see what happens. So I just wanted to make sure no one squatted on the Adafruit name. So, anyways, it's back. But the new crew, it's owned by Automatic, which is WordPress, and they, I kind of like these. They have a mission statement. They talk about the privacy of the users. Tumblr is dedicated to realizing the most radical founding principles in internet culture, individuality, freedom, and expression, and human connection. I mean, all this stuff sounds good. We're trying to find a place that's not the worst thing ever. We don't like using Facebook, don't like using Twitter. It's just, a toxic dump of people hating each other and dunking on each other. So we're going to try it. We'll see how it goes. We're also on Mastodon. Check us out there. So far, so good, but it might just be because all the bad people on Twitter didn't get there and ruin it yet. We have everything on our Tumblr that we're doing in the retro world right now. It's neat because you can put photos and videos and long form text, and people can
I
share.
mean, tumbling is exactly the kind of blogging you do. It's like photo text,
Yeah.
photo text.
And I expose all of our likes. This is what Lady and I click like on, and all of our following and followers because we're proud of it. I thought this was cool. This is a science fiction book. We're going to get this for our kid. This is Women of Wonder, science fiction stories by women about women. Look at this cool, like, robot kid.
That's sweet.
Yeah. So if you look, this is just like everything I like is just here. Like weirdo Batman. This is cool stuff. Anyways, and then you can look at all the ones that we're following. So hopefully folks will get a kick out of it. Anywho, oh, and then the other thing is here's our Mastodon.
Go.
Yeah, and we're putting all the
Go
stuff
toot.
there.
Go boost our toots.
Yeah, go boost our toots. Toots our boosts.
Use that boots. Post our boots.
Yeah. All right, Mailbag.
Letters. We get tweets and we get emails. Your comments.
Okay, so this week we have a very special mailbag. The IO team has been working so hard and making things so easy for people to do things. And I tell the story that once in a while we get an email that someone says, "You're making things too easy." But I thought this was a really good Discord message that we got. I would like to just say how incredibly impressed I am at what the Adafruit IO has become. I built a simple weather station back when Adafruit.io first came out. It was one of my favorite projects, but I'm just a hobbyist and I haven't touched a project since. Years later, I finally have more free time and I just ordered a couple new ESPs and I was absolutely blown away how unbelievably simplified the IO process has become with Whippersnapper.
Yay.
That must have been a ton of work for the team.
It was.
And you should all be very proud. I will
They
likely
are.
go back into Circuit Python, but Whippersnapper will allow me to help spread my projects to friends that were previously interested but just too afraid to follow. Thank you so much for all your hard work. You spread more joy than you know.
Wow.
Okay, that's high
Heavy.
praise. And we were talking about this in our chat room for the team. It's like, how often do you feel good about using a website or feel like, oh my gosh, like this this is joyful? Like how often do you think about that? Like, there's a few websites I can like say like, oh, that was fun, but most of the time it's like terrible. And I feel like
And there's usually like ads and pop-ups and
Or-
subscribe.
I
It's
feel like
and
something
ending.
is like, I feel gross. I have to take a shower for some of the sites that we have to use. So, thank you for letting the team know about this because we have been making things we thought how things could be, which is easy, and then we want to make them even easier. Okay, next up, jobs board. We don't have a jobs board song. Maybe it could be a song like Dire Straits, like Money from Nothing. So we made some big changes in our look. I have to come up with a song. We made some changes. So we were running a WordPress instance for our jobs board. It just got crazy to manage all the time. Security issues come up with all these things, managing it, and then in the end, I was just helping people post their jobs anyways. So we just consolidated it to adafruit.com/jobs. It's also adafruit.com/careers. It has our jobs on there. And what we're going to do is start with it being very simple, easy for us to maintain, to have your skills that you post up or jobs that you have that you want people to apply for. But we're going to be integrating things with our learning system, which is a great authoring tool with everything just works. And we don't have to worry about running another server just for a jobs board. So that's a minor change that we made. Thanks for your patience. A lot of people have gotten great jobs through our jobs board, so we will always do something. But I just wanted to let you know it was just like getting complicated maintaining yet another instance for something where I can just do like GitHub pages. I can do something as a static page. We don't like customer data or personal data, so we want to make it so it protects privacy. We also will always moderate and approve jobs as well, so they're not scammy. Okay, retro. This is the big one.
Cool. I know. I see all these images and videos, and I'm getting excited.
Yeah, you get a little bit of a break here because there's a lot. So
Okay.
we're doing our retro tech. I guess segment all month or series all month. It's Marchintosh. You can go to marchintosh.com and learn about this. Check out the cool art that they made. And Marchintosh is a month-long celebration of everything right before kind of the most recent Macs and stuff, like no iPhones,
No OS 10.
no OS 10.
Only 9 or earlier.
Yeah, and if you look at go to our website, you can find it. You can also just, our Tumblr is kind of where we're focusing a lot of this stuff this month because a lot of people are also participating. You could check it out there. It's all there, and we post something every day. We also put it in our Discord channel that's called Marchintosh, and we tag it. And what we're showing off is our collection that we have, collections from other people, cool hacks and mods that you can do, projects from Adafruit. You want to run System 7 on like a weirdo little single board computer? We'll show
Go
you.
for it.
So I'm going to show some commercials from the past. I'm going to show our QuickTime 150. I took a photo of you. It's a 27-year-old digital camera, still takes good photos, or you're just a good subject, one of the two. An Apple Power CD, a very weird Apple console that there's only a few out there. That was like basically a prototype, but they wanted to do console boxes before Apple TV. The Pippin, which is an Apple gaming console, and more. So I'm just going to play these. There are some very cool gaps of silence, and then there's some weird commercials and ads and stuff like that. So enjoy the silence, and then I'll see you on the other side for the rest of it. So go in time travel.
It's your moment of
Yeah.
Marchintosh.
Welcome. This guided tour shows you some of the many ways to use your Apple Power CD. The Power CD is 3 products in one: a photo CD player for your television, a portable CD-ROM drive for your personal computer, and an audio CD player. The same photo CDs that you view on TV can also be used on a computer. You can use photo CD images for desktop publishing, business documents, and multimedia presentations.
Over here in the United States, we have ITV at the next station, QuickDraw 3D, QuickDraw GX.
Pippin.
えるピピンアットマーク誕生
It's Python on hardware time. Okay, every single week we talk about all the things on hardware that happens to run Python. We have a newsletter. It's Adafruit Daily. You can go to adafruitdaily.com. It's completely separate from your store account because we don't like to mix the two because your personal information is yours. You don't spam or do anything like that. So we're going to show a video, which is a little bit of a preview of the M7, but we also have a bit of news. The CircuitPython 8.10 beta has been released. Ladyada, what is the latest and greatest that people should consider, test, and more that'll help them out and us?
We still have animated GIF support. It's still kind of in progress of being tested, but it's still kind of neat if you want to try loading small GIFs from disk and displaying them on a TFT display. Should work on OLEDs or color TFTs. We've got support for 7-inch e-ink displays, and we do like auto dithering within of them, and that's part of also the palette stuff. It's mostly actually been a lot of bug fixes, to be honest.
Well, after a major release, that's usually.
But yeah, we have a huge churn of bugs. Keep finding them, posting them to the CircuitPython GitHub repo, and we will check them out. Also, we get usually a lot more new users with a new major release, and so that will also kind of get some exciting new bug reports coming in.
And then in CircuitPython news, the M7, we're working hard at it to get CircuitPython stuff going. So we have a video. I was gonna put this top secret, but I think it's fine. I think it's fine. This is kind of nice, good Python-y news because we have a very cool new board. So take it away, Jeff.
Hi, Jepler here with another quick video. This is the beta version of the Adafruit Metro M7 board in that Arduino compatible form factor that many of us love so much. And the final version of the board is in the store now. There's a lot of stuff for us to add to CircuitPython before that is moved out of alpha release quality. And so to get my toes wet, excuse me, I picked rotary I/O, which means I need to know about how GPIO pins work and pin muxing and pin interrupts. And just to show that the proof of the pudding is in the eating, as I rotate this knob, the onboard NeoPixel will cycle through the spectrum of colors. So that's what I've been working on, and you should keep your eye out for more improvements to our support for the IMXRT family of microcontrollers in CircuitPython 8.1 and later on CircuitPython 9.
Get it delivered every single week to your inbox. Adafruitdaily.com is where you sign up. Okay, we're an open source hardware company. We have thousands of guides, over 2,600 guides altogether. This week on the big board, Ladyada, what is new for folks to learn?
Okay, we've got all sorts of stuff. Okay, I'm trying to remember because there's been a lot of updates.
Safe mode we talked about last week.
I think the SNES mouse is new. Yeah, a lot of these were just updates.
Mouse is new.
That's true. So this is a project that Jepler did to take the SNES mouse, which I didn't even know existed, but like, how can you not love it? It's got that like beautiful purple tinted button, and it uses, I think, latches just like an SNES controller, but it's a mouse, and then connecting it to a RP2040 Cutie Pie to turn it into a USB HID device. So it's a cool project if you want to use this retro mouse. I think the Cutie Pie guide got updates. We do have a new guide for the ESP32S3 reverse TFT. So it's got the pinouts diagram and some example code. We just did a whole family of these ESP32SX feathers with like display without display, reverse display, and not. I will say that if you're watching this live, and the ESP32S3 is having a little bit of jitter in the Arduino IDE. There's a couple issues with uploading and ESP tool, and so if you're having a couple issues, just be aware the S3 in particular is going a little bit through a churn. The S2 doesn't have these issues, but I'm noticing more bug fixes and hardware fixes for the S3. So hopefully that'll be fixed by the IDF team. The analog feedback servos guide got an update from Carter. It now has CircuitPython code and a GIF. So you can use analog feedback servos in CircuitPython. Aaron made a really cool bubble table with LED animations. This is a great project if you're interested in having LED animations that are controlled by an IR remote. IR remotes are inexpensive and you don't have to worry about Bluetooth or Wi-Fi or pairing. You point, you click a button, things change, and getting it to work with animations isn't hard. But you can do it. You want to do it so that like the animation changes immediately, and it takes a little bit of funky coding. So Aaron shared that code. So this will be very useful for people in general who want to do infrared remote controlled LED stuff.
Yeah. We're going to play the video after this, and then we also have a video for the Tron disc, but the Tron disc is yet another
Yes,
amazing
Tron disc. This is cool. I guess
project.
there's a Tron ride, which looks awesome. And I guess it's at Epcot Center. I don't actually know. Or it's Disney something, Disney World Land. I don't know. But if you're gonna go there, you want to cosplay.
If you're going to go, you got to go like this.
You gotta go like this. So the cool thing with this disc is
Or just in the grocery store. Go
it's
like this.
3D printed, and it uses the prop maker feather wing and the NR52 840 feather, and it's magnetically attached. So check that
So
out.
cool.
Yeah. So I guess they picked up a Tron hoodie, and then the harness has magnets attached on the inside, so you can have it magnetically attached to your back. So like I thought that's the cool part.
Programs. Yeah, very cool.
Play for the user. And then Liz wrote up a guide for the Adafruit Pi Cowbell Ada Logger, which gives you a micro SD card, a real-time clock, STEM QT, and reset button. So we're starting to add more Pi Cowbell accessories that let you add functionality to the Raspberry Pi Pico and Pico W. And this is the second one. So you got example code in Arduino and CircuitPython.
All right, Bubble Table, take it away. And it's time for some factory footage. Oops. Hey, look, there's a.
Hey, that's such a nice note. We had to, so nice, we had to look at it twice.
Yeah, anyways. That was main New York City factory footage. I was looking at that thing. That was such a nice note we were sent. Okay, let's do some 3D printing. See, the show is so big that I have this grid of all the things that we put together for the show, and
It's
I have
massive.
to,
And it's like a 5x5.
It's like a tiny.
It's smaller than the X's on
Yeah.
close this ad.
It is. It is like
Pop up.
threading a needle constantly. Okay. So we're gonna do the Tron video and then the speed up, and then we'll see you on the other side for Ion MPI. Lots of videos this week.
All right, see you soon.
You can fight for the user and build this 3D printed Tron-inspired prop using NeoPixel LEDs in CircuitPython. Powered by the Adafruit Feather and prop maker Featherwing, this Tron disc and back harness are fully 3D printed. With the power of neodymium magnets, this disc attaches to your back just like in the movies. Using a mobile device and the Bluefruit app, you can change the color of the LEDs so it's easy to switch your team color. With the Bluefruit app for iOS devices, you can even use an Apple Watch to change colors with the built-in color swatches. The Prop Maker Featherwing and Feather Bluefruit are the perfect pair for making advanced props with motion-activated lights and sounds that can be controlled wirelessly from your phone. The code is written in Adafruit CircuitPython, so it's easy to make it fit just about any prop with lights and sounds. It uses Bluetooth and the LED animation library to trigger lighting effects with the Prop Maker's onboard accelerometer. Check out the Learn Guide for a full step-by-step tutorial on building this project and download all the files using the Project Bundle downloader. You can customize values like the speed and colors to make this fit your project. CircuitPython supports lots of different dev boards. Just go to the website and search to find your favorite microcontroller. You can download the latest stable version using the Download UF2 button and quickly get up and running. Get the parts to build your own Tron-inspired disc from the Adafruit shop. Links are in the description. Download and 3D print the parts without any support using black and translucent colored PLA filament. Start by soldering matching headers to the dev boards. You can use a breadboard to help you solder them straight. Use short socket header pins to keep it slim and low profile, perfect for props with tight spaces. The Feather Bluefruit is secured to the bottom piece of the prop using hardware screws. A mini skinny strip of medium density neopixels are set on the outer edge of the disc. Cut the strip to size and remove the silicone sheathing by sliding it out. A strip of side lit neopixels is soldered in line with the mini skinny strip and shares data, power, and ground connections. A 3-pin JST connector allows it to plug into the Prop Maker Featherwing. This micro USB breakout board allows you to route the USB connection to the edge of the prop so it's easy to access for recharging the battery. Use silicone ribbon wire to create a super compact USB cable. A mini oval speaker plugs directly into the audio port onboard the Prop Maker Featherwing and snaps into the built-in holder. This slide switch is soldered to the enable and ground pins on the Prop Maker so the Feather can be turned on and off. A JST extension cable connects the battery to the port on the Feather and the battery clips into the built-in holder. Neodymium magnets fit into the built-in cavities and get secured with 3D printed caps that snap fit and hold them in place. The LED strips are tacked down using double-sided foam tape. The top cover of the prop can then be placed over the bottom cover. Nylon screws are inserted through the holes on the side of the disc and keep everything secured. An accompanying back cover with magnets are sewn into a running vest using nylon thread or fishing line. We had a lot of fun building this project and had a great time taking it to the Tron Light Cycle run at the Magic Kingdom in Disney World. We hope this inspires you to check out Adafruit's Prop Maker and CircuitPython for your next project.
Okay, let's jump right in. But first, don't forget there's a code and you get free stuff when you order. You want to get free stuff and use the code. You ready, Ladyada?
Yeah, kick it.
This week's item MPI is from Amanda. Ladyada, what did you find this week?
Okay, so this week it's a tool that I was like, I want this. And once in a while you'll see like I do like very complicated boards, like last week's NXP series, which was sort of like this massive.
So you're complicated.
That's my
That's your complicated board.
I mean, it was a long line of pick. I wanted to cover this entire family. This one is a short and sweet one, but I'm very excited about this one because I personally wanted this tool. So this is the Wick Gun by Menda Easy Braid. Easy Braid is like the sub brand for braid, and then Menda is who made like the thing it clicks into. And this this is like
Hey.
this will get rid of your solder bridges as easily as John Wick gets rid of nasty bad guys. So yeah, coming to a theater near you. It's got 100% on
These co-promotions are getting out of hand.
Yeah. Okay, look, I had a few minutes.
I got my John Wick Happy Meal.
I opened up Photoshop. Okay, so the wick gun is it's a tool that you would use with solder wick. So anybody who has soldered knows that soldering is super fun and easy until you make a slight mistake, and then you gotta get your tools out. Like here is from Phil B's guide on removing the headers. The headers and connectors from a Raspberry Pi. Upper left, you've got a desoldering tool, also known as a solder sucker. Top right is the flux. Use that to kind of keep the area clean, and it keeps the solder from sort of spraying everywhere. It makes it flow a little better and keeps it away from sticking to the PCB where it shouldn't. And then at the bottom right there, super wick. So wick is a braid. It's made out of copper, and it often has that flux inside of it or a rosin inside of it that makes it easy clean solder joints, and then also the rosin kind of coats the solder joint and keeps it clean and unoxidized later. So usually what you start with is a solder sucker, especially with through hole parts. Solder suckers are good when you have a lot of solder. You heat it up, you put the solder sucker up against it, and you press the button and a little spring pulls back and the solder goes up. And then you'll usually need to clean up afterwards with solder wick. Like once in a while you can get away with just the solder desoldering pump or the solder sucker. But with SMT especially, or when you have if you go back to sorry for like this example for the Raspberry Pi, when you have like those big connectors, you see the USB connectors were removed. And solder suckers work really well when they are pressed up against like a solid blob. But if you're trying to clear out a hole or something that already has a hole in it, air will flow around the solder. So it needs to have like something to suction against. And again, that's where wick would come in. But wick isn't good for huge blobs. Like it really quickly saturates. So it's good for like the little cleanups. So why don't you go ahead too? So here's showing, after you can see like the larger holes still have a little bit of solder in them, the little chunky solder. You're not going to be able to use a solder sucker to get those out. That's where a wick comes in and just does the fine work. There are a bunch of really good videos on the DigiKey YouTube that you can watch if you'd like to learn about soldering and desoldering, including this one by Becky Stern only a couple months ago. And then also a teaching moment has a really good guide on using flux and wick to desolder and clean up solder joints. And there's also, I didn't put it here, but Sean Himmel also has a guide on soldering SMT QFN connectors. Doesn't cover wick, but it could be handy. All right, so the 1000 wick gun, how do you use it? So you get these cassettes and you pull out a little bit of wick. I'll show you a little video later. You pull it through, and there's a little roller at the top that you pull, and as you pull it, it feeds the solder wick through, and then there's a little like nail clipper end, and when you pull the trigger, it cuts the wick out. And so basically you can always make sure you have clean wick. Actually maybe let's I'll show it on the overhead because it's a little confusing. If we can jump to the overhead real fast, and then I will.
Did you move anything? Or?
No, I got it. Okay, so this is it, and then you can see as I move the trigger, the roller, the wick is coming out, and then when I'm done, and this is the wick, and then I would use it and solder, and then when I'm done, you clip and you clean it off, and then you can get fresh wick. Obviously, I'm not going to solder live, but that's the idea behind the wick gun. And then this cassette comes out. It has 15 meters of braid, and of course, you can get new braid very easily. Okay, so let's go back to how to. Okay, so this tutorial shows you how to use it. You can take it apart to clean it if you have to, and then you can also pull back. Like the drive knob works both ways, by the way. So if you if you feed too much out, you can always feed it back. Okay, next one. Okay, so for options, so it does come with these cassettes, so like once when you can buy it with a cassette, and then once you run out, you get new cassettes. It comes in different widths, number 1 through number 5, and I think the one that I was just showing you is, I think, a number, let's see, that was a number 1, and then, let's see, I also have a number 4, and I think the larger the number, the wider it is. It's probably basically
Can you reload the cartridge, or is it, that's it?
You can reload the cartridge if you wanted to, but it's kind of a pain, and it's about the same price to just get like new solder. Oh yeah, so like this is the number 4.
So do you want to go with the overhead again?
Yeah, just quickly, I'll show the number 4. So this is the number 4, and that's the number 1. So it's approximate number millimeters wide-ish, about, that's how wide it is. And then the wider stuff is better with larger through holes.
Here's the cassette chart.
And then this is a cassette chart. So you can, the cassettes themselves you can pick up. The wick gun itself is like, $20, and the cassettes are about $10 a piece, $13 a piece. And yes, you can load them by hand if you want. There's no reason not to. They pop open, and inside is just a reel. But most wick comes in like these kind of plastic pop open containers or really large reels. So you'll be sitting there and you'd be winding it. So it's up to you. Mend and Easy Braids also have a bunch of other tools. They have these nice bottles for isopropyl. They have little spudgers. They have diagonal cutters, etc., pliers. So check them out. There's a whole series available on DigiKey. But the thing that's really great about this, I'll tell you why this is so great, is if you're using solder braid, you know that it's usually, okay, here's what you do. You're soldering, and then you're like, oh, no, I need to do some braid. So you put down a soldering iron, you pick up the braid, you have to pull out some, and you're like kind of messing with the reel, and then you hold it in one hand and you position it, and then you pick up the soldering iron again, and then you do solder, and then you put it down. And it's like there's a lot of it's like fork, knife, switch hands, move up and down. With this, it's one-handed. So as you're soldering, if you're like you put down your solder and you're still holding the iron, you can pull this out and then extend some wick out, clean up, and then change. You don't have to put down the soldering iron. And you just go back and forth between solder and braid, which is what I really like.
It's available at DigiKey.
And it's in stock at DigiKey.
Baby.
Well, no, because they have all the different families. This is just the one.
Okay, quick, buy.
Yeah, but they have there's like 30 different types, and there's like 5 to 10 of each one.
We're so used to chip shorties. They're like, oh, there's 4.
No, it's fine. Yeah, you'll find some, because I picked like the number 1, which is the narrowest, but you probably want like number 2 or number 3.
Okay.
They do have them all in stock. Of course, I picked up one of the 4 and one of the one, because I personally want this because I'm tired of putting down the iron and stuff.
And we got a little short video.
And we have a video, and it's in like a TikTok format, so we'll play that. Check it out.
Well, of course, since TikTok came along, YouTube has their identical format.
Yes, it's technically YouTube.
And then so does everyone else. It's funny. It's like one format takes off, and I was scrolling through. I had to look up some stuff, and I'm just like, wow, YouTube is now filled with shorts.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're calling them.
Yeah.
Anywho, enjoy the format video.
Sorry. I get so excited about that.
We always have to prove this is a live show.
Make mistakes. I sound new, and I was like, it's time to sing the new
You're
song.
very excited for new products. Okay, ready? Here we go. Let's do the code, but now, really, let's kick it. Sing it.
New. For real.
We played Spoon Man on repeat today a couple times for summer. Yeah. Okay. First up, we got some restock.
Back in stock. Some of the chip shortage is finally over. We've got SAMD 21E18s in, and so we've got the Cutie Pie SAMD 21. We've been going over with the RP 2040 for a while. And of course, we've got the ESP32 version and S2 and S3, but some people want the classic. So we got the classic. We also have Circuit Playground Express is back in stock.
Finally. There are tons of schools and tons of things that have that happened to all of us for the last few years, but it's happening. It's here, back.
Yes, it's back. So if you've been looking for Circuit Playground Expresses, and we'll have some of those base kits and stuff. We wanted to get the original back in. We'll get all the sub kits in stock soon too. Fine. Okay, next up we've got Relegendable keycaps in black. So we had them in white, but some people are like, no, I want them to be Gother. So these are 2-part keycaps. And you can see here like the plastic piece. So you can remove the top from the bottom, and then you put in, a sticker, a little piece of paper, a label. They are MX compatible. They are fully symmetric all 4 ways. There's no tilt or anything, and they're basically like DSA profile. They're not exactly DSA, but they're basically DSA, but fully symmetric. So these are really good for if you're using maybe a macro pad. We're selling in packs of 10 because no matter what number we sell in a pack, it's always the wrong number. So we just pick
like
10.
The hot dog bun problem. Okay.
I know. So it's 10.
Next up.
Next up, we've got an update for the Witty Pi 4 Mini. A couple updates. It's USB-C. They've kind of redesigned some of the components. It's functionally the same. This is a nice little real-time clock and like automatic shutter up or shutter down, or like one button to shut down and restart. It's got built-in battery backup. It's a very nice, nicely designed real-time clocks / power management tool for your Raspberry Pi. Even though it's Pi Mini sized, like Pi Zero sized, it'll work with the standard full size Raspberry Pi as well. It looks like a very nice build.
All right, next up, the star of the show, besides you, besides our community, besides our customers, besides our staff, this is finally here. There are so many things we've been waiting for so long. It's here. It's in the store right now, this second.
Yes, I did put some in the store, and I didn't notify people so that
if you're watching this show, you can actually get these
can go and
right
get
now, because if we notify everyone who signed up, they'll instantly go out. But if you're watching a live show, this is why it's special to watch live shows.
That's right.
It's here. It's really here. Oh my God.
Oh my God. The Metro M7 is our first board for the IMX RT series. This is a very powerful series of chips. We've had Cortex M0s, we've had some Cortex M3s, we've had Cortex M4s. Why not more M's? Cortex M7.
Right.
So this is a powerful core. It's got floating point. It's got very high speed clocking.
We got beautiful photos. Cool. But you know what?
You want to show it live?
Doing it live.
Doing it live. So this is the Metro M7. I'll put it over here. This is great. We can see us. So in the middle is the Metro M7 chip. That's this one. It's the IMX RT 1011D. So it runs at about 500 megahertz. It's very fast. The trade-off is that this chip is fairly inexpensive for how powerful it is, because it doesn't have a lot of RAM. And I did want to mention that. So it only has 128K of RAM, which sounds like a lot, but like you need to have like half of it for the, instruction cache, which we might tweak in CircuitPython. But basically, it feels like 64K of RAM. It's not a ton of RAM. You can do stuff with it. It's very, very fast. But just be aware that you don't get to use all of that. And it's not a roomy, like our ESP32s with PS RAM. They're so roomy, and they have like 2 megabytes of PS RAM. Not yet. We're getting there. We're going to start with this chip that has 128, and we'll move up the family. Check out last week's Ion NPI video where we talk about the family of RT chips. We might move to the 1020, 1040 as we make our way up to the 1060 or 1160. So, so you know, 500 megahertz, no built-in flash, 128K of RAM. This is the flash chip. It's 8 megabytes. It's QSPI, so it's nice and fast. Just like the RP2040, the flash memory is off chip. There's boot select switches. There is a built-in ROM bootloader. We load it with Teeny UF2 as well. So there's a secondary bootloader with a nice drag and drop and like NeoPixel lights up and all that good stuff. A lot of passives because it has the cool ability to generate all the internal voltages it needs from 3.3 volts, which is what makes it inexpensive, and you can do it on 2-layer board. We've got the standard Arduino form factor, which we just like to start with. It's familiar. We can use shields with it. A lot of accessories work with Arduino, so you can plug it in. It's a 3-volt logic chip. It's not 5-volt compatible. That's to be expected. The ARM Cortex series pretty much is always 3.3, sometimes 5, but very, very rarely. You've got hardware SPI and I2C. That means we do have a lot of pins, right? We have 6 analog pins. We've got the 14 digital pins here, plus 2 I2C, plus another 4 SPI. So, like, do the math, it's like 20 something GPIO. And also SWD with the SWO pin connected, so you can do traces. Scott might do a video soon where he shows some of the trace capability of the M7 series. So the SWD and SWO pins are brought out for advanced debugging. That's another reason I love the Metro format for chips. It's like we want to get the debugger going. STEMMA QT port, plug and play, I2C. There is also, I had a bunch of space, so I decided let's stick a ESP32 on there. It has the airlift firmware, so you can use this to do Wi-Fi communication. So it communicates over SPI and CircuitPython. You can use it to request websites.
It's the horsepower for it to make sense.
Yeah,
Like just too fast.
It's gonna be fast. Well, we'll see. It's gonna do computational stuff, and then we're gonna use chips that bump up the RAM. So it's gonna get juicy real fast. USB-C for powering, NeoPixel, pin 13, red LED, reset button, DC jack on and off, DC in, 9 volts, 12 volts is good. Power supply regulator here. I might change this. I went with an LDO, but I might change up this 5-volt to be a switch converter on the next revision. We'll see. On the back, a lovely silk screen comes with bumpers, some explanation of what you get in the board. But basically, this is a really good competitor to the M4 series. So, if you're interested in the SAMD51, but you want more M hertzes, you want more M hertzes, you need to go from M4 to M7, and that'll get you 500 megahertz. So we're gonna, we have some CircuitPython support. There isn't Arduino support at this time. Something we'll look into, but it's not a priority for us. We're gonna kind of focus on making sure CircuitPython works really well on it. But you can also use NXP Espresso, which I've used, and they have, command line make files that we've used to write code, and it works really well. They have a good SDK. So if you really want to write like very fast code that runs on the processor kind of like natively without CircuitPython, I would recommend
You can do that too.
NXP Espresso for now.
All right. And with that, that is new products. Okie dokie, don't forget the code. Tuesday. Keep putting your questions in the Discord chat. We have some lined up. We're going to do some top secret right away. Let's see. Don't get to your questions. Okay, for top secret, we're going to play 2 videos, and then we're going to show off some of your latest designs. See you on the other side of the videos.
Hi, Jepler here. You've caught me playing with my latest project for Adafruit called The Infinite Text Adventure with CircuitPython and OpenAI. With this project, which is running on a PyPortal with a lovely case by the Ruiz brothers, at every step you get presented with 4 choices, and you touch the screen in one of the quadrants to decide what you do. And I think before we go any further, we need a flashlight. The guide I'm in the process of writing. The code is already up on our GitHub, so if you're enterprising, you can check it out now. But otherwise, look for this project soon and create your own adventure using CircuitPython and OpenAI. All right, I think we need to check the pile of papers. Can't wait to see what happens next.
Hey, Ladyada, what's this?
Hey, I'm going to do a live demo where we program this ESP32S2 over USB from BitBang USB host on a Pico. This is very exciting. So let's plug it in. Replace the tester. I gotta be careful not to get in the way of the plugos. Make sure the board is on and press the button. So this is kind of neat because I'm using USB host to connect via ESP tool to the built-in ROM bootloader. I'm programming it with a gzipped test firmware, so it's actually stored in the flash memory, not on a USB key. Yeah, it doesn't use micro SD. It takes only 12 seconds to fully program and test this Metro ESP32S2, and I don't need to use a Raspberry Pi. I love Raspberry Pis, but this is really fast and solid state, so I don't have to worry about any SD cards. So this revision is coming to the store real soon with this new faster test.
All right, and then here's the weather report.
Okay. So more Pico bells. So since I was doing a lot of CAN bus stuff, I thought it would be fun to maybe whip up a CAN bus Pico bell. So it goes on a Raspberry Pi Pico or Pico W and adds CAN bus using an MCP 2515 and a TJA 1051 transceiver and a little 5-volt booster. I think there's no native CAN peripheral on the RP2040. I know that there's people who've kind of like bit banged CAN, but I think, a NCP 2515 isn't too expensive. I don't mind, going with a chip. So you have like a well-known chip and has buffers and is no, it'll handle and make interrupts for you and you aren't bit banging it. Because I think this is a good solution. So we're going to fab that. We also made an all-in-one, since I was already there and like doing the stuff, made a Feather RP2040 with a CAN bus chip also on it. So it's all in one. If you want to use a Feather for battery powered type projects. And also the USB host Feather, which I think is kind of the most interesting because it uses our BitBang USB host implementation in TinyUSB, thanks to I keep forgetting their name. I think it's Genok, the person who originally did the code to run USB host on RP2040 using a core and like almost all the PIOs. Tacked an amazing job adding it to TinyUSB. I've been using it in that tester you saw that was using the BitBang USB host. Mass storage works, CDC works, HID works. So this adds a little boost converter up there to give you a nice 5-volt, 500 milliamps from either the battery or whatever your power supply is to power your peripheral. So it could be interesting for like, some ideas I came up with was logging to a USB key because then you can just, pull it out, stick it into whatever, and the data's there ready to go.
Yeah.
A little more convenient than having to carry around a micro SD card, which like always pops off and flies across the room. That's what they do best. And then also a HID remapper, which I thought was neat, and some accessibility
That's a good
projects
idea.
where you can plug in
Yeah.
something that is not HID or you use a weird driver,
And it'll make it inaccessible.
and then it makes it or remaps it. It moves it
Yeah.
around. It turns into a modern device because modern HID, works with iOS and Android and Chromos, but some older devices are like kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like
a lot of the
funky.
accessibility stuff isn't, it's been around for a while. So that'll be
Yeah.
a way to modernize it.
This could be really neat. So I'm kind of like psyched about this. I think it's kind of the weirdest of the bunch.
Yeah.
But I think has the most potential to be really cool. Retro
Adafruit.
stuff too.
Adafruit, the weirdest of the bunch. So tagline. Okay, that's top secret.
Okay.
Okie dokie. We're gonna roll right into questions, Ladyada. And let's do it. I didn't put our little graphic of us underneath the question mark, so I'll just go to the other ones. Okay.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you help me understand the difference between the two PN532 boards?
Okay, we have a couple. One is a breakout, so it's kind of like generic. You can use it with anything, and one is a shield, so it's meant to go on an Arduino shaped board.
Okay. Have you seen the Edge Impulse integration with Arduino web platform? Any plans to bring Edge Impulse functionality to CircuitPython or Adafruit IO?
I actually kind of tried. I had Melissa look at Edge Impulse and try to get it working with our RP2040 boards, and it was like weirdly hard if your board was exactly the one, and a little bit of it kind of couldn't quite figure out how to do the integration. It's a little bit like there's a magic golden path, and I haven't figured it out yet.
Okay. Um, for anything exciting out the new STM32 announced yesterday.
Yeah,
Let's use anything.
I'm
yet?
glad they went straight from we have absolutely nothing and never will till 2059 all the way to like there's new chips.
There's a little bit of that lately. There, where we're like,
Like-
hey, we've been a really good customer for all these years. Can we get a small amount of chips? No, you won't get one until we all live on Mars in 2060. And now it's like, we have too many chips. Can we sell you a bunch? Well, by the way, we have a lot of things now. Can we come over?
Yeah.
Can we come over? Can we bring our friends?
Being friends.
Can we bring some Tupperware full of chips?
I'll check out the STM32s. I mean, I think, they're probably, I know that we did cover the STM32G once. Shoot, I can't remember the part number a few weeks ago on INPI, so check that out. It looked really interesting. The G series, I think, it fits in a really interesting spot.
What would the M7 be used for? Is it like a new Arduino?
It's basically like a very, very powerful microcontroller. It's just very fast. And it's been around for a while, but again, wasn't available during the chip shortage. So it's kind of a few years old. It's not that new. But I haven't seen this chip, even though it's been inexpensive, be popularized yet. Like the 7021 is very popular. 7051 is very popular. RP2040 very popular, but the NXP series is still a little scary to people. It's not as popular, and so it's kind of fun to wade into a new family.
Here's what I would say: anything that someone did with Arduino, it'll now be easier because you can use a scripting language, and it has Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So one of the things that scripting languages, especially Python, brings is you can do things like get and send things on the internet very easy. So like any type of IoT logging, any type of like bidirectional stuff, you'll be able to do.
Yeah, and this M7 is not. It's very fast. That's kind of its only thing. And it has this Flex IO, which is kind of cool. But the future ones, the ones above it, the 10, 40, 50, start to get pretty neat. They have stuff like MIPI display control, a megabyte of SRAM.
It's like a full computer.
It's like 700 GPIOs. You know what I mean? It gets like pretty cool, pretty fast. Very beefy chips with a lot of functionality and a lot of power.
Next.
So great for CircuitPython because like we have cycles to spare.
And like the other thing is, if you're on a computer and you're compiling over and over, it seems silly that you're doing that and a chip is so powerful where you can just write to it live. Like,
yeah.
Cool. Oh, does the M7 support Arduino yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
It does not at this time, but we'll look into it. If anybody out there is interested in if you want to get paid to do that, somebody who's interested in writing an Arduino core with the NXP Espresso SDK, if you've done that, we have people who do lots of firmware support for us, and they all love it. But nobody right now is everyone's really busy. But we're always looking for more people who might be interested in taking on that.
Maybe we'll put that on our new job board. Can you still use the FTDI stuff with all the newer M4, M7, ASP32s, and the NRF Adafruit boards?
I mean, you can if you want to communicate back through USB, but FTDI cables and chips were really meant for boards that didn't have native USB.
That was like back in the day.
Yeah, nowadays it's like you don't need that cable because it's native USB is built in, so it's like saves you one cable.
Okay, here's a nice little treat. Talbot says, love all the work with the PIO USB host on the RP2040. Thanks, Adafruit.
Yeah.
It's because I bought Toto Horse. That's why I bought Toto Digital Horse. I don't even know if that worked out. I should probably ask. Did that work out? Like, you're supposed to get like a little digital horse for your tumbler for like a day. Anyways, a few weeks ago, you showed that you went out to experience Chinese New Year. That's right. We went to the parade in Chinatown. You also showed that you're working on some new projects that weekend. How do you find balance in your time? Is it challenging?
It is challenging, but here's the good news. We only live a couple minutes away from Chinatown on the Lower East Side. So it was a fun trip. We love going out with our family and being outdoors and taking walks. And we do that in between working, childcare.
So to answer your question about how do you find balance in your time and is it challenging? I think right now, as I get older, we've been fortunate enough to choose the thing we want to torture ourselves with because it's all day, every day. Like everything is kind of hard and challenging and annoying, even if the best things are. So you have to just find the thing that you want to torture yourself with. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean like, this is the thing that you're gonna be Oh, play horse friend, yeah. That you're going to be dealing with. And so, running a company, being online, being in New York, doing all this stuff, it's a weird form of torture that we absolutely love. That's how I guess I don't feel like it's time away from anything because I don't want to do anything else. So it's a very interesting, weird situation to be in when there's nothing I'd rather do. So it's not like balancing time. It's just like, how do I do all the things and and take care of all the people I want to take care of. It's more like how do I get time instead of balance. Anyways, next. Out of curiosity, is there a timeline for the Nightjar analog bird synth? There's no timeline with it. Right now, we're working with Kelly, and we have to convert some stuff to KiCad. So
KiCad.
next time I talk to Kelly, I'll ask if it's okay if we start to give some progress updates. We just saw Kelly like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So it's moving along. But the world is finally kind of turning back on with parts and more.
She totally like gave me like the prototype and like the schematics, and I was like, "Great, I'm going to the hospital. I'll see you in a couple months."
Yeah, that's what happened.
It was like literally like 2 days before I was going to the hospital.
Yeah, it was like Wednesday, and then it was like, "Oh, we gotta go have a kid."
Gotta go.
So, anyways, I think that is the questions. All right.
Okay,
Oh yeah,
that's
look,
it.
Todd did get. He said play horse friend.
Yay.
So, I guess you get to play horse friend,
whenever.
and then you take care of the horse for the day.
That's nice.
I like the idea of a little Tamagotchi pet inside of a browser. That's kind of nice. Make horse friend, not horse enemy. Oh, last question of the night. Are you switching from KiCad Eagle? I'm finally starting the process. So
I don't really have time to do that.
So that's not necessarily a switch for us. Lots of people on the team use all different
Yes,
tools.
some people on our team use KiCad.
It's more like being able to speak the native language when you're visiting.
Bilingual. You want to be bilingual?
Trilingual. It's more like being able to speak the language and you go somewhere because we're dealing with so many files and so many things. It's a good idea. And then that is it.
Bye,
Thank you, everybody. 7:15 on the dot.
That's our
We'll see everybody next week. Don't forget the code. Women's Day. Have a happy International Women's Day. This has been an Adafruit production. Jessie May, thank you so much for who's behind the scenes. Thank you everyone who came by tonight to hang out with us. It was so good to see you on Show and Tell as well. Good to be back. Here is your moment of Zener.
Good night, everybody.